What's going on, YouTube? It's your time again. Now you listen to Reality Talk. Now you listen to Value 26 on Reality Talk. Um, the gun control. Hit the like button before I even talk about this video, and I'm gonna tell you what I should have been doing, and I'm gonna tell you what needs to be done, and I'm gonna tell you what needs to be happening here. Now let's get this started. Now, I know everybody like to have their guns. I know everybody like to have their guns and stuff like this. But now we're gonna start off for the NRA, which is the National Rifle Association. So I'm gonna read the script to you. The National Rifle Association is a gun rights advocate group based in the United States. Has been founded on November 17th, 1871, and co-founders is William Kessler Church, George Wood Wingate, and it founded in New York City for the gun politics and the gun rights. And it started it started after the Civil War. Because remember, the Civil War began in 1861, with around President Abraham Lincoln. So in a few months after the Civil War begins in 1871, the National Rifle Association was proposed by Americans in England in the letters that was been sent to President Abraham Lincoln and published in the New York Times. R&G, Mutland and R.B. Perry recommend forming of the organization similar to the National Rifle Association in Britain, which has formed in a year of half earlier. They suggest to making a shooting range perhaps on a base on a Scotland Island and where offering Whitworth rifles were prized of the first shooting completion of those rifles. The suggestion of promoting company to start the association, which include President Lincoln, Secretary of War officers, and other promoters, New Yorkers. So now we're gonna start over this. I'm gonna tell you one thing. The job, everybody had a job here. The job you need to understand and turn around is you cannot have those guns out there with a rifle, a certain rifle you cannot buy at the gun store. And you got a lot of people buy these guns to go and shooting ranges, do a shooting range. Now, all these schools and all these buildings, they going to shoot up and shooting the victims because you mad at yourself. You mad at yourself behind your behavior. Hit the like button. And we are tired. So anyway, they should they had a protection lock on the rifles right by the trigger. And when you put your gun in your gun cabinet or whatever, you have to put it somewhere safe where your sons cannot get to it. Hit the like button. And when your kids get to it, they're gonna go out there and they're gonna do something crazy with that gun. And next thing you know, you have to answer from the police and the state as well. And those victims end up getting killed and end up getting killed behind a mass shooting going on. all those mass shootings been going on behind a child under the age of 25. Hit the like button. It's a child under the age of 25. Now I see one incident with an older gentleman. He was 50. He was like 59 years. Let me see, around 50 something. He was around 50 something years old and killed a lot of people in Vegas when they had the concert. And all these people start shooting things up, and they come from a toxic marriage, a person that's born mentally insane, a person born with ADHD, and you are a person that's born on medication. In my words, is it ain't NRA's fault. Your job is to lock up them guns. Your job is to put them guns in that closet and have a safe place to lock it. Like I said, if you want to get a big old vote to lock up your guns, you can. But you got to keep it in your place, in your room, in your closet, and have a lock and a key. Because once they put their hand, I'm gonna tell you, because once the gun get into the wrong hands, somebody is gonna be hurt and somebody gonna die. Most likely. Hit the like button. And I know in my life, my fact of life is guns can be very dangerous if it get into the wrong hands of a crazed person. Because people are not scared to shoot a gun. Remember we went over guns in prison? What if it had guns in prison? There will be murder every day. It'll be suicides every day if it's guns in prison. Because right now, the way the United States is full of hate, they don't mind squeezing the trigger. Hit the like button. They don't mind squeezing that trigger. They could argue with a person. They could argue with a person and they'll just pull out a gun and shoot. Because they scared and you scared to have a fight. All you take is two hands. It don't take no gun to make you the big man. Cause once you go to prison, there will be no guns in there. So, in my situation is these guns, these guns needs to stop. These things needs to stop. You can have a gun. We're not gonna tell you not to have a gun, because certain places it could be for your protection. You can have your gun for your protection. You can have your gun. You can have your gun protected, like if you have a robbery or burglary trying to go in your house, or if you got somebody trying to come and kill you or whatever. Then you use your gun. Because in the state of Texas, you can shoot somebody in your house legally in the state of Texas because you fear for your life. He came in my house, threatened me. I feel threatened. That's why BTB Savage beat the case because those guys came over to his house and they was looking suspicious like they gonna rob him. And when they got into it, the girlfriend ended up shooting and killing this guy. And they ended up killing this guy, whatever. For an example. And he beat the case because it happened inside of his house. Hit the like button. So I don't know who the new rapper is, I'm old school, so I know about the rappers and the singers back in the '90s. Now BTB Savage just sound new to me, so he's probably like a 2020 person, a 2020 rapper, or whatever. But anyway, I'm using him as an example that he went and killed the guy inside of his house because they were looking suspicious. They was gonna rob him. So when you bring a guy inside your house and they start looking around and being so suspicious, then you gonna have to take further action when they come in your house. Police carry their guns around and they hostage. In certain states, you can't carry. You got a license to carry a weapon, but if a gun go into your wrong hands, if the gun goes to the wrong hands, you done. That's why I be like, I don't like being around people with guns. I don't like guns. I never did like guns, cause guns, cause guns is more powerful and it take you out from the earth. People don't, and they don't care. People, you can fight a person in your house. The person can go up in the closet and grab a gun and shoot you. And person get away with murder. Like, well, I'm crazy. I'm this crazy person, and I'm trying to protect myself. And he was this, and he was that. That's why 65% of victims don't get their justice because when you have your gun in your house, because you never know what's gonna happen out here around here. You never know what's gonna happen. You don't know who's gonna break in your house. That's why I be so concerned about who's and where's and when's. So, like I said, the NRA is not to be blamed. They didn't do it. It's these people that needs to protect. Now, eh, do you know what an FOPA stands for? Let me ask you. Do you know what an FOPA? The FOPA stands for Firearm Owners Protection Act, and which is the legislation of restrictions of the Gun Control Act in 1968, and a Dickory Amendment, which is blocks of the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, which is the CDC, from using federal funds to activating for gun control. So now, what we're gonna put is now in the mid late 1970s, the NRA has been increasingly criticized by the gun control and gun rights advocacy group, pol- political commanders, and politicians. The criticism began following the changes of the NRA's organization policies, following what is now referred to as the Revolt of Cincinnati at the 1977 NRA Annual Convention. The changes were, which is the proposed former NRA Executive Vice President Maxwell Rich, and including new organizations by law, has been described as moving the organization away from the previous focus of hunting for hunting, comfort, conservation, conversion, conservation, and marksmanship, and a toward a focus of defense of the right of bear arms. The organization has been focused intense criticism in the aftermath of the high-profile shooting such as Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting and Parkland High School shooting, after which of both judged of adding armed security guards at the school. So now, ever since they had armed security guards now at all the schools between element all the schools ever since the Parkland High School shooting, and Sandy Hook's elementary school shooting happened like 4, 5, 6 years ago. So now, what I'm trying to tell you is, number one, they need to install metal detectors at all the schools. Number two, each and every parent go up in the school need to be having their bags checked for any weapons, any concealed weapons, or whatever. If you get caught with a gun and this gun is not licensed, you could be charged. Next, all the classrooms need to be installed in surveillance cameras in all the classrooms, all 50 states. That's what it needs to be up. That's what needs to be done with the schools. Hit the like button. All these schools need to have cameras, surveillance cameras in all those classrooms. Next, security guards need to be protecting the yard. They need to have surveillance cameras on the playgrounds. They need to have cameras all over the playground during school hours and overnight hours, 24-hour surveillance camera in all the schools' playgrounds, high school, middle school, and elementary. Now, college, we ain't got to worry about college too much. But if college end up become, then we're gonna have to go and do the same thing with the college too. But the schools need to have all those cameras up. For all these schools need to have cameras now, which is the playground, the cafeteria, the school cafeteria, the classrooms. It's just for protection. Metal detectors need to be installed in high school. Each and every student needs to get their bags checked every single day. This is what this should have been done years ago. Because when you put your kid in these schools, you don't know who can go up there and start shooting. You don't know. This is happening constantly, 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 and they promise what they're going to do, and they never promise nothing. So if you put up these schools up, when you put up these damn schools up, that's going to give the kids safety. And each teacher should have the radio on. Every teacher, every principal should be carrying a radio. It needs to have it towards the police department on the station where the police. So if something happened, you have your radio and you get in contact with the police department immediately. Next, each and every child, if you got your classroom, if you have your classroom, you need to have more protection. You need to have another person that sits in the back of the classroom, and he got to be protected too. Two, it's got to be two people be in the classroom. Two adults should be in the classroom in the elementary school. High school, not really. But in elementary and junior high, yes. Yes. Because if something happens, because you don't have, because there's a lot more lunatics up here. You got to think about the I remember the first terrorist attack I've seen since Waco, Texas, and Oklahoma City bombing in the 90s. I remember those. Then, then you remember the Boston Marathon bombing. I remember that. Now I remember the gay club shooting in Orlando, Florida. I remember that. All these things, all these things need to have a security guard at the clubs where they can have a radio talk to the police department. This is this is what you need to do because if not, this is going to continue. This is going to continue. So I know in my heart, in America, as long as you're not, as long as everything, if you have all that protection, then you're good. You're good. And then other than that, thank you for watching Reality Talk, Real Talk.